What's going on, people? Hey, man, I was going to stay away from this Nolan Wells thing, but it really starting to bother me as I look at this thing more and more and more, and I'm hearing all these crazy comments from other nationality people talking about the young man. You know what I mean? It just don't sit well with me. So let's get into it. We're going to do the show, and let's get into it to talk about what happened, what I think happened, and what probably possibly could have been avoided. Let's get into it.
The more I learn about the Nolan Wells case, the more I'm convinced that it was a Klan initiation ritual. One kid's parent is a judge, another kid's parent is a lawyer, and another kid's parent works in the jail. Happens in Mississippi on the 250th anniversary of our country, not to mention all the black people that have been found hanging from trees and the big group of white masked men marching on the Capitol. This is all Klan activity. The racism in this country disgusts me, and it's a big reason why I'm no contact with most of my family. I don't talk about it on here, but I have a black brother, and my mother raised him to believe that racism isn't real. I pretty much started fighting with my family and going no contact with them when Kyle Kaepernick took a knee, because that's when all of them started feeling comfortable in their racist skin.
Racism still exists. Racism is not going anywhere. Racism is taught and being passed down from Paul to your grandfather, great grandfather, to his granddad, to his dad, down to you. People can sit here and talk about, well, I ain't never had a racist experience. We all, especially Negroes, have had that racist experience, indirectly or directly. Whether or not this is a Klan initiation, and I have no idea, but what I did see on the Capitol on the 4th of July was a bunch of guys out there covering their face marching. The only other group of white men that covered their face in a group was the Klan. They even took pictures on a train with a black woman in that picture being surrounded by those men. And over the years, it came out in the Klan, there was judges, there was lawyers, there was politicians, there were doctors, there was affluent people in this organization. So what make you think it wasn't the same group of people marching on July 4th of this year on the Capitol with their faces uncovered? Their faces covered. So it is what it is, man. It ain't going nowhere. Same group of people still here, man. It's just being passed down and taught. So yes, it's getting dangerous out here, especially for people who look like me. Let's get into the next one.
I'll tell you exactly what the fuck happened in Nolan Wells. I could put any money in the fucking world. See, I hung out with a lot of white people like that in high school. And although I am white myself, I certainly am not one of them. But I did have the pleasure of being their friend, and I guess that came with being the butt of every joke and enjoying the finer things in life. But this is textbook. I can give you a fucking play-by-play, I promise you. See, what had happened was, they were getting rowdy, whatever the case may be, drinking all day. Something happened, malicious or not, doesn't really fucking matter, and those boys saw him take his last breath. I guarantee you that. They had an oh fuck moment, got scared, left him, drove the boat off, went home, told mommy and daddy told him to shut the fuck up and got him over. It's textbook. Again, I saw this shit happen over and over again growing up. This is how they fucking operate every single motherfucking time. You wanna know what happened to Nolan Wells? Go ask some boys. Problem is now you gotta drag it through court because they lawyered up. But they fucking know. They most certainly fucking know.
I found it funny that they went out together. They're all supposed to have been friends. He didn't come back. They did. They had his phone. They say they don't know what happened to him. They deactivate their social medias. Their parent or the judge or the doctor, whoever was one of their parents, deactivated the social media also, scrubbed everything. And they also have lawyered up. I find that funny. If you ain't do it, if that was my friend, I'm going to make sure my friend come back with me. Or I'm going to make sure my friend's safe to get back home. Or I'm going to be like, instead of saying, I don't know what happened to my friend, I'm going to be like, hey, he got into the blue boat with Michelle and Timothy and Roger. I'm going to be detailed about what happened to my friend, if that was truly my friend. I think it was a moment of he was never their friend. And they might have waited till the opportune time to pounce. Who knows, man? But the stories is not adding up. Why would you leave somebody when you don't know what happened to them if they came with you? Why did you have his phone? Teenagers don't leave their phone. I got teenagers and young adults and you better bet that phone is glued to their hand. That is their lifeline. So it's just not adding up. And then you give it to you didn't even call and say that he was missing. You gave the phone to his mom, and his mom called and put out a missing report. If my friend is truly missing, I'm in the search party. I'm putting hey man, have y'all seen my friend? It been crickets. Everybody lawyered up. If you ain't doing nothing, why you got a lawyer? Just being honest with y'all. It is what it is. Let's move to the next one.
Black people, stop going on motherfucking vacation with these white folks. Your white friends call you, say, hey, bud, what's up? Hey, you ain't going on vacation? No. Hell no. Because y'all keep going on them vacations, and they keep coming back home, and we can't find it. You got to tell them white people no right now. But some of you got to tell them no. I keep wondering why I'm going out there in the ocean for.
That's a lot of people that didn't look like Nolan. Let me just say that. And it ain't got nothing to do with the white or black thing. People making it seem like it's a moral thing. And my friend is my friend. And you didn't protect your friend. I remember my son wanted to go to Japan with a group of friends that didn't look like him after he graduated. And I'm like, who are these people? We didn't really know them. And he was calling name. He showed up. None of them looked like him, and we never met them. And so me, his mom, and I shut that trip down. It's like, no, son, you ain't going. For one, pops don't have a reach outside of the United States right now. And it's gonna take me 24 hours to at least get to Japan if something happened. No, you ain't going. And then, ironically, the trip got canceled after he couldn't go. And I wonder what happened after that. I say, hey, son, did they get back? They put the trip back on? Are they going without you? They were like, no, everybody decided to just cancel. They still should have went. Just because you weren't going. They still could have went. So, yeah. But me and his mom shut that trip down. Group of people didn't look like him. I'm sorry. It is what it is. Let's move to the next one.
I wasn't going to make this video, but I decided to. So I have a black son, and my black son has white friends. And my black son has gone out by himself with his group of white friends. They've been friends ever since they was in elementary school, a couple of them. So I told my son, I said, you need to go out with a group of friends that's more diverse. You do not need to be the only black child that goes out with your group of friends. So he wanted to go out of town with them, right? And I said, no, you're not going. And did he go? No, he did not go. So what I tell my son, first of all, their phone numbers, their names, their addresses, their parents' names. That was the first thing that I did with him. Well, since this little situation that has happened with Nolan Wells, I told my son, you would not go to their house. You would not go out anywhere with them. No, no, sir. Because see, this mama don't play. So he would not be going out with these so-called friends of his ever again. He would not go to their house. He would not go out with them. You can talk to them on the phone and you can talk to them on the computer, but you would not be hanging with those people anymore. Because we all know what they're capable of doing.
Right now, it's a little dangerous out there. The racial tension is a little too high for you to be letting your kid go anyway right now, especially if they're the only token black kid. Let me say that. You talking about the Cyrus Carmack Belton, you talking about Carmelo Anthony case, now we talk about Nolan Wells. The tension is a little too high, and sometimes we have to protect our kids from themselves. You know what I mean? I don't care if it was the opposite. One white kid, all black kids. You got to protect your kids from themselves because they don't know what they don't know. And a lot of these kids grew up in an inclusive society where everybody get a trophy, everybody won, everybody participate. And we know that's not reality. I grew up in the 70s. I still hear stories of my people being hung in South Georgia. My people was being brutalized in South Georgia. There are stories out there. And even though I grew up in I live now in an affluent community, and my kids went to these type schools, I let them know the history. And I don't think that's wrong to let them know about their history. So we always have to protect our kids from themselves because they don't know. And they do think everybody their friends. And everybody is not your friend. Let's move to the next one.
Now you know what I'm going to ask. What if Noah was white, hanging around a bunch of black kids, and he died, and he was the only friend in that group who died? What would the public perception be if Noah was white? That's a rhetorical question, by the way, because we all know what the public perception will be like. We all know white people will be out here with pitchforks and white hoods ready to go if a white kid died hanging around a bunch of black kids. And none of his black friends who are so-called best friends did a wellness check on him, didn't call his parents to make sure that he checked in. You assume that you guys went out there with him and he wouldn't leave with you with the same people he went out to this place with, and you just assume that he was fine going out with someone that you had no idea where he was at. There isn't at any point in time in my life where I have gone out with my people, my best friends, and they left and they didn't check in, or I didn't check in with them to see who you with, where you going, just in case you need me. I'm not buying that bullshit. And it's much like this case with Tamla here. Hanging around a bunch of white women, winds up dead the next morning, nobody's charged. You mean to tell me out of everybody in your friend group, you the sole sister who died in this incident? And we don't think to question anybody that's surrounding you on this couch. White privilege. Same goes for Noah. You the lone friend out this entire group who died. And we're not looking at the white elephants in the room, figuring out what you know, what are you not telling, or what have you done and you're concealing this entire time? And mind you, it was his mama who reported him missing. Not his best friends, not his homeboys who he went out and party with, but it was his mama who reported him missing. Man, these motherfuckers guilty.
I'm going to be honest with you. If it was the other way around, you have every agency going through every phone on that island. I'm talking about from the FBI, the Secret Service, CIA. You'll have every agency, Mississippi Bureau of Investigation, state police. You'll have everybody going through and interrogating everybody who was out there on that island. But nobody saw anything about this kid. And then he just happened to they found his body 8:45. I think it was like 8:45 the Monday morning. And he went missing on July 4th. Something is just not adding up. And like he said, this gentleman on the screen said, if it was the other way around, man, you'll have people with pitchfork and hoods ready to ride through the neighborhood, burning crosses again. Let's just be honest. We don't want to be honest no more. And that's what's getting to me, man. The America hadn't changed. They just don't. People ain't really wearing sheets no more. They're wearing suits and badges now. We talking about people now, politicians, Congress, and Senate. Let's just be honest, and wearing police uniforms. Let's just be honest, man. And something is not right with this, man. But it is what it is. Let's move to the next one.
As a white woman who grew up in a predominantly black area, where I've definitely been the only white person in the room on lots and lots and lots of occasions, I've never been in fear. I've never been afraid. I've never been worried about my safety. With that being said, as a white woman with biracial children, I don't give a fuck if it's their cousins. My boys will not be the only black child in the room. They won't.
I'm gonna tell you, if it was all white, if it was all black crew, and you had one white boy, two white boys, don't you know somebody in that crew gonna protect those white boys? Be like, hey man, you lay off Dawson, bro. Kick rocks, bro. Dawson with me. Dawson my dude. Chill out. We ain't finna let nothing happen to this guy because we know all holy Hades will come down on the whole group, man. We know that. You know what I mean? So if it was a white woman around a bunch of sisters, you better bet that sister gonna protect that. Somebody in that group gonna protect that white woman. Like, hey, you lay off Rebecca. You go head on and do everything you gotta do, but don't mess with her. But I didn't see the same in this particular case here, man. I haven't. And that's why I say we got to get back to protecting our kids from themselves. We got to protect ourselves from our friend group. There's a lot of Judases out here. Judas was one of the 12 disciples. He turned on the Messiah. He saw the miracles. So just because they're with you, that don't mean they're for you. Let's move to the next one. It is what it is.
So I went to a very affluent, predominantly white private high school. And when I see these pictures of Nolan Wells with his friends on the boat for the 4th of July, my heart breaks. My heart completely breaks because I know that so many of my pictures from high school look exactly like his. I know what it's like to be the token black person in a group of predominantly white people. And for you to genuinely probably think that those are your friends. And for 95% of your interactions with these people to be friendly to the point where you do believe that they're your friends. And probably for them as well to believe that they're your friends until shit hits the fan. I know exactly what that's like. I don't know what conversations that Nolan and his family ever had about race or about himself being the only person of color in his group of friends. I don't know. I have no idea. Regardless, it doesn't matter what conversations they ever had. I don't accept that these kids don't know what happened to him. Even if by the grace of white Jesus himself, these kids did nothing to harm him. If he genuinely had an accident, hit his head and drowned, did whatever it was, even drank too much and drowned, whatever it was, if they had nothing to do with it, they still left him. So they still know what happened. Saying that they don't know is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And I think that the thing that's most heartbreaking to me, I mean, so much of it is, but the thing that's most heartbreaking to me as someone who grew up surrounded by white people, thinking that those were my friends for the most part, is the betrayal. Because every black person has their black moment. Every single one. I think that there's a crazy version of it when you are a black student in a predominantly white school, private school or public school, that happens where all of a sudden, whether it's a microaggression or a macroaggression, but you have the moment where you realize like, oh, so we're not friends. And I know that he had that moment, unfortunately, right before he lost his life. And that to me is heartbreaking for him to have had that moment of being like, either they did something to me and they're not my friends, or watching that boat drive away and being like, they're leaving me, they're not my friends. That to me, burn it all down.
Exactly. And like I tell my kids, like I say, we live in an affluent neighborhood right now. Right across the street from me, out my window here in my office. It's a multi-million-dollar mansion. Several. Not one time these people ever spoke to me. Not one time I ever spoke to them. It is what it is. But we want to always say that racism don't exist. It's still here. And you always got to be on your guard no matter what, man. No matter what. So my heart does go out to that young man's family. And it's heartbreaking to wonder what was his last thoughts or his vision when he was dying. What did he see? Or who did he see? And we can sit here and say that people say, I don't know what happened. Somebody knows something on that island. And I can't wait and I pray that somebody come forward. But let's be honest, we are talking about Mississippi and we talking about affluent people, lawyers, doctors and judges that got the means to cover stuff up. So more likely, they would never know what happened to this kid, being honest with you. Let's move to the next one.
None of this is normal. It has been 1 week since the body of Gerard Jackson was found hanging in a wooded area in Michigan right outside the Electric Forest Festival that he was attending. His death was ruled a suicide. It has been a little over 2 weeks since the body of Tone Miller was found hanging in a park in Miami. Her death ruled a suicide. It has been a little over 2 months since the body of Juliana, 16-year-old, found hanging near a church in Charlotte. Her death ruled a suicide. It has been about 4 months since the body of Kyle Basinga was found in Georgia hanging. None of this is okay, and none of this is normal. It has been less than a year. It will be a year in September when they found Trey Reed's body at Delta State University in Mississippi. His death ruled a suicide. And you may be asking, Rashonda, well, how many black people walk around with rope on them? The answer would be none, Helen. 0. Because none of this is okay and none of this is normal.
I'm going to be honest with you. Yeah, we could hang ourselves. We could. But it's very, very rare that a black person will hang themselves. And I think the third picture she shown, I think the one guy in Georgia, he hung himself. They say he hung himself and he had 2 broke legs. Those things just don't add up, man. It's time to start holding people's feet to the fire and holding communities to the fire and holding police chiefs to the fire and detectives to the fire. It's time. It's too much of this suicide mess going on. We might go through stuff, but a lot of my people are not suicidal. But it ended up being ruled a suicide, which is sad. Let's move to the next one.
I don't know how you could be the token black person in an all-white group. I don't know how you could do it. And the reason being is, whenever I try and just kick it, not even like trying to be the token, just kind of, we work together or the group just happens to be white and we're going to do some stuff and that's cool. Boom, boom, boom. They can't help being racist. They can't help it. I remember hanging out with this group in Tampa and we went camping together. We would go to bars together. We did all this. And then there was somebody that came around and sat down at the table and they just said a racist joke casually. Just for no reason. But then they looked at me crazy for reacting to it. And it's just like, when I sit and I think about it, there's always one person. And I don't know if they're doing it to test if it's acceptable and I'll allow it. But on my end, it's just, can y'all just not do it? I honestly believe in my heart of hearts, if you ever challenged a group of white people just not to say a racist joke, not to talk about racist stuff like this community is bringing us down, this community isn't this, and just not talk about anything racist, they probably wouldn't have anything to talk about. They probably wouldn't have anything to talk about. They love to say not everything is about race, but I guarantee you they would not have anything to talk about.
I'm going to say this. I don't think all white people is bad. I don't. Just like I don't think all black people are good. But I think we have to have a conversation about a person's past. And it's there. I done heard people be cooled in the mug. They get drunk and start calling you all kind of N-words, this and N-words that. They act like they lost their mind, like they never knew you. So we have to always have these conversations with our kids. Parents, we have to talk to our kids. Like I say, we are in an inclusive society where everybody just get along. Oh, come on, little Dawson can hang out with little Tyreek and all, and that's cool and all. But at the same time, I need to know little Dawson past, and Tariq need to know his past. Because like I say, I had uncles that was hung. I was told the stories. It was heartbreaking to know what happened to them. It was heartbreaking to hear the police beat my aunts them up. And there was no video of it. And they was too afraid to go to the police because they know that could happen again and again. So until we start holding people, and David Banner, I'm going to say this. One thing about, I was listening to David Banner a couple of years ago. And he said people only respect two things: a loss of finances or a loss of life. And I ain't calling for neither, especially the second one, a loss of life. I'm not calling for that. But it's probably time to rein it in and build our own community 1,000%. And I'm tired as a black man, as a Negro man. It seems like we fight everybody all the time. Just last year when the ICE raids was going on, we had some Latinos, and this ain't calling nobody out, just in general, but Latinos and Hispanics was talking about black folk didn't stand up for them. I'm like, we got our own problems. Just 2 or 3 weeks ago with the Cyrus Carmack Belton, with the Asians, we was fighting the Asians. Last week, we fighting with Carmelo Anthony, we fighting with the white folk. This week here, we fighting with the white folk again, man. We fight with the ABREW the other year, man. I'm so tired of fighting. It's like the Israelites in the Bible, man. If you go do your research, the Israelites fought with everybody. That's why I tell people who we are. It is what it is, man. This bothered me. I'm going to continue to follow up with this story here because that could have been my son. Could have been my son. It is what it is. Until next time, y'all be good. Talk to you soon.